All right, folks, welcome back to the Crisis Report. This is your alert for November 6, 2025. Brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. We'll have more on that later on. Let's get started with your Crisis Report alert. Hopefully checked out the earlier one or later one last night. And keeping up, of course, you can sign on to these by going to Substack, and they will come right into your email. And then from there, you can either go forward or not. So it just gives you all the links and everything. It's a transcript. So you can do more with your time. These are designed to make them quick and give you the information as quickly as possible so you can move on with your life and not go to multiple sources. Here we go. United Kingdom is going to introduce new pay-per-mile tax on electric cars after falling fuel duty revenue as people move from petrol to electric cars. The taxes are set to kick in from 2028 when up to 6 million people in UK are estimated to be driving EVs. Chairman of Ofcom, UK's communications regulator, urges the BBC to seriously address impartiality after a whistleblower's internal report highlighted allegations of bias and misinformation. Wow. Whistleblower Michael Prescott, former advisor of the BBC's Editorial Guidelines Committee, will testify before Parliament's Culture, Media and Sport Committee next week. I wonder what side they biased onto. Who could have saw that coming? Pelosi announces retirement from Congress. Good. Pelosi says goodbye. Quote, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative. Poland has launched military training for all citizens. Most dangerous times since World War II, they say. Prince William at the COP30 Climate Summit says the melting of polar ice, loss of the Amazon, disruption of ocean currents, these are not distant threats. They are approaching and will affect every one of us, no matter where we live. Keir Starmer says my message is that the UK is all in. You don't need meet a challenge like climate change by standing still. You do it by embracing change, embracing the opportunities, and doing it together. This is truly a collective endeavor to bilk you out of money. Israel declares Egypt border area closed, military zone due to weapon smuggling drones. Frenchman earlier this year discovered a gold treasure worth $800,000 while digging a swimming pool in his garden, local officials have said. The U.S. is going to cancel flights as the longest government shutdown drags on. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang says that China will win the AI race with the U.S. Poland has launched military training for all citizens. The defense minister says it's the most dangerous time since World War II. The United States is reportedly preparing to set up a military presence at a Syrian airbase as part of its efforts to advance a security agreement being brokered between Syria and Israel. A Jewish FDNY commissioner has handed in his resignation after Zoran Mamdani was elected mayor. 3I Atlas has changed color again and is showing signs of, quote, non-gravitational acceleration, end quote. 17 airports have been forced to grind to a halt for hours after a shutdown led to a significant reduction in capacity. New data from the National Association of Realtors has shown that between mid-2024 and mid-2025, the typical age of a first-time buyer reached a record high of 40 years old. Median age of all buyers rose to an all-time high of 59, up from 47 in 2019. As Europe is tightening its borders, Spain is betting on migration to drive economic growth, bucking the trend. Spain is surprised with a welcoming approach to migrants. Between January and June this year, 77,000 asylum seekers arrived in Spain. The socialist-led government sees immigration as an economic asset and has rolled out measures to legalize and integrate new arrivals. There's a manhunt for foreign prisoner after being mistaken releasing from the HMP Wandsworth. HMP Wandsworth in South London admitted and that's Her Majesty's Police, admitted a foreign prisoner was accidentally released on the 29th of October, just 5 days after a high-profile release of a migrant offender of a sexual nature, Hadush Kabatu, from HMP Chelmsford in Essex. You're doing fantastic. Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus in the House of Representatives has introduced a constitutional amendment codifying the Senate filibuster. This comes as President Trump has endorsed getting rid of it alongside Chuck Schumer. Do not do that. Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts has posted a new statement denouncing anti-Semitism and apologizing for using the phrase venomous coalition. Hezbollah has signaled that it will now respond to Israeli attacks on Lebanese soil, while also stating that it stands in unity with the Lebanese army against Israel. They state that this is not a decision for war, but rather a move to defend their national sovereignty. AFRICOM has drafted plans to launch a military operation targeting Islamist terrorist groups in Nigeria. Israeli army is preparing for the possibility of a new round of fighting against Hezbollah soon, anonymous Israeli officials are stating. Swiss government has rejected naturalization reform proposal. Swiss government wants cantons to continue to have the last say in naturalization procedures. On Wednesday, it reiterated its rejection of the so-called Democracy Initiative. Democracy Initiative wants to make naturalization easier. It demands that naturalization should be possible after 5 years of legal residence in Switzerland instead of 10 years, regardless of the settlement permit held by the person. IDF has issued evacuation orders for buildings in the two separate towns of Taibeh and Tardabah, southern Lebanon. OpenAI wants federal backstop for new investments, according to the Wall Street Journal. In other words, OpenAI wants a U.S. government bailout in case those investments into data centers and chips don't pay out. It's almost like they're signaling something. Altman also has told the U.S. government that the insurer of last resort for AI financing should be them. Term too big to fail is now a theory in banking and finance that asserts that certain corporations, particularly financial institutions, are so large and so interconnected with the economy that their failure would be disastrous, and the greater economic system, therefore, should be supported by governments when they face potential failure. Term emerged as prominent in public discourse following the 2008 financial crisis. New economic data shows that without AI, the U.S. economy is in a recession, with as much as 63% of GDP growth coming from AI investment. Altman is not wrong when he says that OpenAI is too big to fail, because his company plummeting would certainly crash the American economy. Question is, should he be bailed out? Should the American people be forced to pay to keep Altman's company running? Why shouldn't OpenAI be allowed to fail? And new Trump administration officials told Congress they currently lack legal justification to strike inside Venezuela and have no plans for land attacks. Existing authority only covers hitting suspected drug trafficking boats at sea, not targets on land. Administration is exploring a new legal opinion that could allow land strikes without congressional approval, but no decision has been made. Brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. We appreciate you being here. If you'd like to turn your 401k or IRA into gold and silver, this is a wonderful way to do it. They're a highly rated company, Better Business Bureau. They take your IRA funds or your 401k for investment, not your own money, your investment from your pay, and turn it into precious metals of a physical style that you will receive on delivery when you retire. Consider it. Link in the description. We also have other links. We have Truth, Twitter, Gab, Minds, X. We have Subscribestar, Locals, Substack, we get a transcript, and of course you can become a member here to keep the endeavors going of the Crisis Report. 2 reports a day, giving you everything you need to know in about a 10 to 15 minute process. Quick, easy, so you can move on with your day and live your life. Because Lord knows we're all working multiple things now just to stay afloat. God bless you all and have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday.